students. Today we are going to start with the next part after the transport of the gases, that is the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. So what is that oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve? Indicates that whenever oxygen is transported via the bloodstream to the region of the tissue, then in different partial pressure, the amount of hemoglobin that is present in the blood that will start to get saturated. That means the amount of hemoglobin that will bind with the oxygen. And this way, at one period of time, all of the hemoglobin will get saturated and the oxygen will get maximally, it will bind with hemoglobin molecule, and this way it will be transported. So in different partial pressure, actually how much oxygen will be binded, or at a specific partial pressure of oxygen how much hemoglobin will bind with the oxygen, that actually is shown in oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. As we already know that hemoglobin that binds with oxygen, around 4 oxygen molecule can bind with 1 hemoglobin molecule and it forms an unstable compound, that is oxyhemoglobin. So we will see how much oxyhemoglobin will be formed in different regions of the body in the respiratory system, in the cellular respiration. So first of all, we need to know some important points, that in normal individual, the hemoglobin level is 15 gram per 100 ml of blood. So how much hemoglobin is present in 100 ml of blood? That is around 15 gram. So this thing is very much important. Directly in some objective questions this can come. Next one, the capacity of 1 gram of hemoglobin to combine with oxygen is 1.34 ml. So whenever we have suppose 1 gram of hemoglobin to combine with oxygen, then what is that capacity of hemoglobin to bind with that oxygen molecule is around 1.34 ml. Next one, during exercise, during strenuous condition, whenever suppose we are exercising, already we have oxygen depth, then this oxygen level falls to 4.4 ml per 100 ml of blood. Okay, so it will decrease, and this way we start to have panting. That means we will have shallower respiration, shallower rate of breathing, so that maximum oxygen can reach the region of the alveoli and it can give it to the tissues. So that's why whenever we exercise, we start to actually panting. That means we start to breathe faster. So that's why the deepness of the breathing that will decrease. So first of all, what is that oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve will indicate? First of all, in x-axis, what we are going to take partial pressure of oxygen. It is also written as PO2. So here in x-axis we will take partial pressure of oxygen. I have given here. It's not directly, I have not measured in scale, but yes, then also it will to little extent it will be look like same. And in y-axis, what we have taken percentage saturation of hemoglobin. That means at a specific partial pressure of oxygen, how much hemoglobin will get binded with the hemoglobin molecule. So that one we will see. First of all, here some data are been given. It is seen in normal individual that how the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve will look like. Okay, so first of all, just see around 25% of partial pressure. Suppose we have around 25% of partial pressure. So this is 20, here it is 40, so this will be 30. So in this middle, that means around 25% of partial pressure of oxygen. How much hemoglobin will get saturated? That is around 50%. Okay, so here it is the 50%. So whenever partial pressure of oxygen is around 25%, then around 50% of hemoglobin will get saturated. So this one is very much important. This is called as the P50 value. Okay, so what is the P50 value? That at one partial pressure, around 50% of hemoglobin, suppose you have 100 molecules of hemoglobin. So at partial pressure, 25% of partial pressure of oxygen, around 50 molecules of hemoglobin of your body will bind with that oxygen molecule and form oxyhemoglobin. So that will be called as the P50 value. So remember, this is called as the P50. It is right like this, P50 value. Okay, so what is that P50 value? That when hemoglobin, that 50% of the hemoglobin will get saturated at what partial pressure? So this is 25% of partial pressure at what the oxygen molecule, 50% of the oxygen 50% of the hemoglobin molecule will bind with the oxygen. So the next one, that is whenever partial pressure of oxygen is around 40%, suppose partial pressure of oxygen is now 40%, then around 75% saturation of hemoglobin occurs. So this is 70, this will be 75. So whenever we have 75% saturation, then the partial pressure of oxygen is nearly 40%. Okay, and whenever partial pressure of oxygen is around 97%, that is this much, then around 99% of 97% of the hemoglobin will get bind with the hemoglobin molecule. So whenever we see, we start to connect the points, join the points, then this oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve will look like a S-shaped curve. Okay, so this way we will see a S-shaped graph or curve. We will see whenever we just we just put the values of partial pressure of oxygen and percentage saturation of hemoglobin in y-axis and x-axis, then we will get a sigmoid curve. So here you can see a sigmoid curve is seen. Okay, so this normal in normal condition. Okay, in normal condition means in normal individual, normal adult individual which don't have any diseases or don't have any respiratory problem, then that individual will have how many oxygen level will bind with at what percentage saturation of hemoglobin, that will show a around S-shaped or sigmoid shaped curve. Okay, so that is called as oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. So from here we will see a condition also, that whenever we have different condition, the oxygen hemoglobin curve may sometime will shift to right or sometime it will shift to left. Okay, so we will see when it will shift to right and when it will shift to left. Okay, so we will see here, this is the here we will see this is the right shifting, and here we will see the left shifting. Okay, so when the oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to right or to the left. Okay, so whenever oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to right, it will be look like this. This is shifting to right, and what condition this oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to right. Okay, so one thing remember, that whenever we have very high level of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, then this oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve will shift to right. Okay, whenever we have very low partial pressure of oxygen, then also the curve will shift to right. Whenever we have high level of hydrogen ion, that means whenever we have less pH, then also the curve will shift to right. Then whenever we have high temperature, then also the curve will shift to right. And whenever we have one compound that is formed during glycolysis, that is 2,3-diphosphoglycerate, that is produced actually during glycolysis whenever we have any strenuous condition or we are exercising, we have fever, we have taken the acidic, or the blood is, though blood is a buffer, sometimes it can be acidic. whenever partial pressure of oxygen is higher, oxygen is lower and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher, then what will happen, your curve, oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, will shift to right. So what is actually happening, that whenever we have different partial pressure, suppose changes, suppose we have 25% of partial pressure of oxygen, but then also see percentage saturation of hemoglobin is decreased, isn't that? Why this is happening? Maybe this is possible that in the blood or in the breathing, whenever we take the gas, then we have taken more carbon dioxide. Then what will happen, that maximum carbon dioxide will bind with the hemoglobin and oxygen will not gonna bind with hemoglobin. So in this condition, this curve will shift to right. Then the blood, suppose it become acidic, in that condition also hydrogen ion can shift the oxygen hemoglobin curve to the right. And whenever the temperature is very high, suppose you are working in, suppose in the summer month, suppose June, July, August, in that period of time, whenever we suppose exercise, then what happen, we get fatigued, we get tired. And why this is happening, why we can get tired? Because our tissues are not getting sufficient oxygen. Why this is happening? Because hemoglobin, whenever it binds with oxygen, it forms a compound that is called as oxyhemoglobin. And this oxyhemoglobin is very much unstable. Whenever the temperature rises, oxygen hemoglobin breaks. And that's why whenever it comes to the tissue will not get sufficient oxygen. So that's why we will feel tired. Okay, so this will happen whenever right shifting occurs. So this thing, that partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, oxygen, partial pressure of oxygen is less, high level of hydrogen ion or less pH, high level or high temperature or high level of 2,3 dpg, that indicates the right shifting. And exactly opposite will happen whenever suppose this partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very much less. Okay, there is no carbon dioxide, then yes, maximum hemoglobin will bind with oxygen, so this will indicate the left shifting. Okay, suppose you have very high partial pressure of oxygen, then level of hydrogen ion is less and pH is higher, suppose the temperature is less. Okay, in cold or winter season we can work more as compared to the summer season. We get tired less in the winter season. That same amount of work, if you're working in the summer season, we will get tired soon as compared to the winter season. So why this is happening? Because of the temperature, because oxyhemoglobin can be broken in high temperature also. So if the temperature is less, then oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to left. Okay, and yes, if you don't have glycolysis, when we will have the glycolysis process, whenever we are in suppose strenuous condition, we are exercising, then also what can happen, this glycolysis will occur and you are going to have 2,3 dpg. And if you are not having any strenuous condition or you are not exercising, then yes, oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to left. Okay, so whenever the level of 2,3 dpg is less, then also the curve will shift to left. So you can see here that right shifting and left shifting is very much important. We need to know, suppose sometimes question can be asked this way, that in a condition the person is working in a summer season, the oxygen hemoglobin curve will shift to right or left. So this thing will be very much important. So you need to know this. This chart you have to know, and this is the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. Normally the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve is sigmoid at different partial pressure of oxygen. How much percentage of hemoglobin will get saturated or bind with hemoglobin, that will be important. So this will give us a S-shaped or sigmoid shaped curve. And in the different conditions like carbon dioxide, oxygen, temperature, hydrogen ion and 2,3 dpg, in different condition, the oxygen hemoglobin curve will either shift to right or it can shift to left. So yeah, that is all about the oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. I hope you understand. So that's all about the video. Thank you.